Hello, welcome to today's webinar. Today we're talking about Maxio and Rillet and how we're unifying the AI-powered financial stack. I've been looking forward to this webinar. We got a lot of content to jump into. Thanks for joining. So we're going to cover off what is the AI-powered stack, why Maxio and Rillet together, what you're going to get out of this powerful integration and partnership, and we're going to show you the software live in action. And then any questions you have, we'll answer them throughout the webinar and then save some time at the end as well. So I'm Brandon Jenkins. I'm the CEO here at Maxio. I've been in finance, the office of the CFO for about 15 years, and I've been just super excited about what Rillet is doing and how Maxio and Rillet together can deliver great value. I'll go and let Nick and Hillary introduce themselves.
Awesome. We're very excited to be here with you all. I'm Nicholas Kopp, CEO of Rillet. We're building an AI native ERP. Very excited about sort of this partnership and chatting through some of the functionalities and details here shortly. My background is very much in accounting and finance as well, and I started Rillet here 3.5 or so years ago.
Awesome. Hillary Frost, I'm our Director of Partner Operations, and I also was in accounting and finance before and started at Maxio about 7 years ago. So now just facilitating others to do it instead. But previously in product as well, so some of you might know my face, but excited to see these two together.
Good stuff. I'm glad you guys are here. So like I mentioned, I've been at this for a while. Before being at Maxio, I was at Accounts Payable Automation Solution, Medius, and then before that, I was at NetSuite for about 10 years. So I've seen a lot of these financial applications and how they come together, or in many cases how they don't come together. How that basically creates a lot of manual processes, blind spots in the data. And then as a result, a lot of folks, a lot of businesses have to throw a lot of people at it. The teams get bigger. The problems get bigger. Things kind of slow down, and a lot of this is getting flipped on its head right now, especially in the advent of just AI and how AI drives these automations and intelligent insights. But it's also just how these applications in the finance stack in the office of the CFO are coming together, and the value that it can deliver in terms of better decision making and keeping leaner teams. And Maxio, as we're focused on B2B SaaS companies, AI companies. We see it every day, what our customers are interacting with when they use our system linked to like a QuickBooks or linked to a Xero or a NetSuite or a Sage, and what that looks like. And a lot of customers are looking for something different, and as they move along their journey from a startup to a scale-up business, and they see how AI is impacting basically every aspect of their business, finance is not left alone here, and Rillet is leading the charge. I was when I joined Maxio about 7 months ago, one of my very first conversations was with a customer. And she told me, you got to look at Rillet. And so Nick and I had a conversation, and clearly there's value here, and I'm just excited to show that value off today. So Nick, I'd love you to kind of walk through how you view the AI, and modern kind of finance stack.
Yeah, I'd love that. And yeah, Brendan and I first met as you were fresh onto your new job, earlier this year, for a nice coffee here in San Francisco. So, which was the start of all of this. So, in terms of just a quick step back on the ecosystem of Rillet and sort of the wider ERP at its core, is at the end of the day, I think all of us on this call will probably believe that AI will fundamentally transform how accounting and finance gets done over the next couple of years at varying paces. So there's certain areas where AI is very strong and easy to apply to, other areas where it'll take a little longer still. But in general, the direction, if you believe in abundant intelligence, abundantly cheap, there will be a really strong movement here where a lot of the workflows will get automated that all of us do every day, which is really exciting. So we can all focus on stuff that may have higher value than matching payments somewhere, and also maybe see our kids a little earlier at times, or maybe take a weekend off. So that's sort of, I think, what's coming our way. We have potentially in the next 1 to 2 years already, maybe 2 to 3 years, pretty certain, we will have an ecosystem of hundreds of agents seamlessly interacting with each other, multiple platforms interacting with each other. And Rillet has basically built an ecosystem around itself that fundamentally stores data, saves data, permissions data back out into other applications, and makes sure that human and agentic collaboration works really well. And as part of that, we've partnered with some of the best companies in the industry, and we're very proud today to share that we're working very closely with Maxio on the AR side. We have partners also Ramp, and really some of these companies out there that are part of that ecosystem. So with that, we're very excited that we're here. Maxio and Rillet will work very closely together on making sure the data exchange happens extremely well, and you can all get the best of both worlds. So that is Maxio's world as well as Rillet's world, back in basically one cohesive experience for the customer. And with that, I'm happy to talk more high level on sort of the ecosystem and everything in this sort of AI first wave, but I almost wanted to bring it back down now, back to Brandon, into the how Maxio and Rillet work together.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I'm a big believer in an ecosystem. I think customers get the best value out of the solutions when these solutions work well together and they're tightly integrated. And sometimes there's overlap, sometimes there's not. But it's a mix and match, and businesses change and evolve. You kind of point out on this diagram here. I mean, we have a few thousand customers. A lot of them use Stripe, and the fact that Rillet supports Stripe, we support Stripe. It just gives this optionality and removes kind of the friction in terms of customers getting after what's important to them and driving value to their customers. And that's when we think about this integration, this partnership between Maxio and Rillet. Nick and I's objective really is that our solutions shine, that our solutions together shine, and you get the best out of both. When you look at these core systems bringing data together, bringing things as important as your subscription and your revenue, and how all that flows through the various processes, the agents, and then ultimately your reporting and financial results. We're committed to having tight bidirectional integrations where it matters, and just being super clear on what systems kind of maintain what aspects. In the world of Rillet, things like chart of accounts, like that obviously belongs there. But our system is highly dependent. Maxio is highly dependent on making sure that we record and synchronize the data to the right accounts, for instance, right? So the systems and the reporting together drive that right insight. And things like AI can do its job, because at the end of the day, AI is very reliant on good data, timely data, clean data, right? As a result, this type of integration, as we look at bringing together all the right data points, will give the finance teams, a singular truth, right? As they look at where they're at, and that, I'm a big believer of meet the user where they're at. If it's an accounting team and they're in Rillet, that's where they're at. They need access to the data where they're at. And vice versa, if it's someone managing, contracts and relationships, things like that, that might be a Maxio or a combination. And that type of that singular view, that truth is important, and making sure it's bidirectional, real time, giving you that data. So this is our first. Today we're rolling out the the V1, the integration, our offering. We have customers that are already accessing this integration, and as we'd call it, early adopters. And we want feedback on those customers and those experiences, because we're committed. Nick and I are committed to creating the best experience. And both platforms are going to continuously evolve, right? They're going to more features, more functionality, and ensuring that we continue to deliver that joint value. So as we look at what do you get, it's speed. The fact that you can bring two powerful systems like Maxio and Rillet together, along with the other systems that we collectively support, the integrations, you get a much faster time to value. Customers can get implemented with a Maxio and Rillet way faster than the alternatives. I can just, without naming names, I can just say you can get up and live much faster than the alternatives, get that clear visibility across the process, right? Across the financials. Accuracy is super important. We're dealing with, your revenue, complex agreements and subscriptions and payments. All that accuracy is paramount. And the fact that we are committed to scaling, both Rillet and Maxio be able to take you through the scale of your business and support you at every step of the way. That's our vision. We believe that this initial partnership and integration that we're rolling out will hit this vision immediately, but we're also committed to it as we all grow together. Nick, do you have anything else to add to this before we jump into seeing it?
Yeah, no, that is, I think that we have a handful of folks that are actively here being onboarded, and as these folks, but any other future customers, feedback is very welcome. Both of the organizations here are shipping functionality and features extremely quickly, and so we'd love anything that folks have and sort of be part of that journey here, which will be a really instrumental partnership over the years to come.
Good stuff. So I think the software will speak for itself. So I'm excited for Hillary to take us through kind of day in the life and demonstration of what we brought to the market.
Yes. Okay. Let me share my screen here. All right. So like we've kind of talked about, there's a lot you can do with our two softwares together. Today, I'm going to show you kind of a basic sales-led growth example, but just know there's kind of the crawl, walk, run effect, and just showing how we can scale with you. So I've gone ahead and created a customer here, and I created this customer manually, but most of the time, if you're doing this sales-led example, that would be coming in from connecting Salesforce. Or HubSpot. And so your typical workflow would be your CRM down into Maxio, down into Rillet. So we have our customer here, and I'm going to go ahead and create transactions. All right. And I've already got a contract here. And so just to call out, our contracts are more like a folder essentially for our transactions, which are really our powerhouse data object within Maxio. And these are what generate your revenue schedule, your invoicing schedule, and also if you have MRR, ARR that is getting generated. So let's say we have a subscription plan that someone bought with an implementation fee. And I'm going to say they've got 12,000, 3,500. Why not? That seems reasonable. So as I'm creating this, I can go ahead and preview this revenue recognition schedule that is going to be generated based off of this. And same with the invoice schedule. So let's see here. This is all up front. Let's do something more interesting, and we'll make this quarterly invoicing. So again, I'm filling this out, but this can be done through your CRM, where that would come in automatically, and you're more so just saying that that's correct. Or also the whole other big piece here is usage-based billing. So this could be coming in through a public sign-up page, or maybe Maxio is embedded in your website, or you're utilizing our API. There's a lot of different ways to get to this same outcome. So if I go ahead and submit this, I now have my two transactions. So I can see I've got a year-long subscription that's billed quarterly. Here are the 4 invoices that got created. And here is my revenue schedule. And I can see how that's going up and down for deferred revenue based off of those invoices I just created. So let's tie this into Rillet. So if I come to my landing page here, these syncs you can set up automatically, which 99.9% of people do, but just know that you can always run a manual sync. So I can see here I've got this customer to send that I just created, and same with this one invoice to send that we just created. So by default, the invoices and credit memos will queue to send to Rillet when that invoice date is today or prior. So I'm going to go ahead and run a sync. We love some green check marks. Okay, so now if I come back to this customer that I had created, I can see that we've got a Rillet ID here. So anywhere where you see the IDs, this will be the customers, invoices, payments items, I can click there and it will bring me directly to my Rillet sandbox where I can see that this customer got created. And same with this invoice. I now have my ID here, and I know that both systems are in sync. And so again, if you have Salesforce connected, let's say, you can also send that financial data up. So top to bottom of your workflow is all in sync, and you know that everything is agreeing and linked to each other. So let's click into this invoice, and let's go ahead and why not? Let's send this. So again, this is a sales-led example. If I'm coming in and sending these manually, that probably means I have a low volume and I'm wanting to be high touch, look at each one, but this can be done automatically. If you're doing that usage-based, maybe you are utilizing our billing portal and someone can go in and pay directly in the billing portal. Also, this that I just emailed, someone could link, like Brandon was talking to, Stripe, or we have Maxio Payments in-house where they can go in and pay via credit card or ACH. But I'm just going to go in and we'll pretend they sent us a check. So I'm wanting to create this payment manually. Come here and let's go back to our Rillet integration page. So again, typically you're not syncing every time you do this, but you're doing it automatically, but we're going to go ahead and sync here. Okay, and if I come back to my invoice, amazing, it's marked as paid. And if I come back into Rillet, I can see that payment is now in Rillet as well, and we are all in line. So from there, you can come in and this now unlocks all of your reporting that you can do in both Rillet and Maxio based off of all of these being linked. So let's look at our advanced revenue summary. This is our main finance report on the Maxio side. And we can see here, if I open up these buckets of recognized revenue, deferred, and invoicing, what accounts these are going to is based off of the items and chart of accounts being synced back and forth with Rillet as well. So I have that subscription item going to subscription revenue. My implementation was services revenue. And this is where you can see, obviously this is just for the one customer, but you can run this in aggregate across all of your customers. And this is where you'll be able to see your month-end reporting of, hey, now we can take X amount out of deferred revenue and book that to recognized revenue. And then if we want to look at MRR, ARR as well, here's our subscription momentum. So this is MRR just for that one customer where we can see where they started this month until they run out next November where they would need to be renewed again. But we can look a little more exciting here. And this is across all my customers. So just something to think about as well, where everything is all linked. I can come in here and look at my new revenue in November, and here is that customer that we just created. I can go in and see what item was purchased here. And so you can really slice and dice your data across really any attribute. So maybe you have something in your CRM you want to pull in and report off of. We also link to Clearbit. So if you have your customers' domain, then you can easily report off of industry, revenue, company size, whatever you want of those Clearbit fields without having to maintain that on your own. So super excited about this. And again, like we said, this is just the beginning. So more to come.
Hillary, I see a bunch of questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you want to hit on them now quickly. They relate to some of the product stuff.
Okay, let me read this.
Or
okay, yes. So Mark's talking about if the information's pulled in, I assume you mean from Salesforce or HubSpot, then what's the process for human review and approval? And so same thing, like you could set up automatic syncs to Rillet, you can do the same upstream. So you can create a queue essentially of those where someone is coming in and all those fields are populated and you're more just confirming them along the way, which is what most people want to do because accountants are inherently distrustful. But if you really believe in your CRM data, you can set that up to be automatically as well. Currently using Maxio and looking to add advanced billing. Yep, advanced billing would work the exact same way. So that was kind of that usage that I was talking to. If you're having that come in from your app or a sign up page, whatever, that will ultimately make that same thing of the customer with the transactions and the invoices and payments that will sync down to Rillet. What else? Our revenue, funny you ask about the revenue journals syncing automatically. Right now they do not, because previously, back to the point of accountants want to check everything first. That's why we have it that way, but that's been a frequent ask. So I wouldn't be surprised if that changes soon. Tax, same thing. So if you're used to Maxio, we have integrations with Avalara, and so you can do that and send that tax amount down to Rillet, or since those are bi-directional, if you're calculating in Rillet, then that invoice will get updated in Maxio with that tax amount once you sync. And advanced summary reporting by transaction and not at the contract level. You can do filtering. I don't know if I'm understanding this question totally right, but and we also have other more granular reports that are more transaction based. So depending on what you're looking for, I think that can be done. And I think that's the Q&A. If I'm missing one, let me know.
This is rapid fire, and folks could read along in the chat, hopefully. Any follow-up questions, feel free to also email us afterwards.
Yes.
Thanks, Hillary. Good work.
Course.
I think hopefully everyone on the webinar sees it's, pretty powerful applications coming together. We probably have a good amount of clearly some of the questions here, existing Maxio customers. I think what's exciting here is customers, our vision here is can easily go to a product like Rillet, with a Maxio in terms of, they have such a core component of the financial data, the AR, the billing, the subscription in Maxio, and moving off of, let's say, like a product like QuickBooks onto a Rillet, we vision that to be a pretty straightforward process, and just syncing and bringing all the data into Rillet and moving forward. So we're excited to see that play out. We definitely, customers that are interested in existing Maxio customers, we encourage you to talk to us, talk to Rillet, see how we can get you up live quickly, and give us the feedback. I think it's a great option for our customers. And then I think there's also new customers, both new to Rillet and Maxio on this webinar. And I think what you're looking at here is a much more modern approach to solving this problem. When I joined Maxio, I was blown away just at how lean our finance team was. I've been working with finance organizations, teams across many types of industries and organizations, and I was just blown away at how lean our team is and our customers. And it really comes down to bringing together stacks like this and having this approach of better together with a Rillet and a Maxio. You can get a lot of value out of this type of offering.
Yeah, cool. And I so fully echo what Brandon just said. I see there's a few more questions as we went along that came in on Rillet, and typical sort of accountant we don't love to talk about ourselves all the time. So, but I do think I want to quickly share a little bit of the context on the business, and why people are using the product today instead of a NetSuite, and maybe can shed a bit more light there. So I think specifically Emily has asked about capabilities, as well as Pat here. So it always depends on your situation, but think of us as basically a modern alternative to NetSuite. AI first, better UX, UI, better integrations. So very tactically, as to why some people switch over, is multi-entity, multi-currency. So for folks that are going international or have multiple entities in the United States, that's one big area where people will tap out. on QBO or even some of the Intact products. Then you have robust approval workflows. That's another one. So as you grow in size of company, you need finely grained approval workflows, permissions on certain sites. From an audit perspective, pre-IPO readiness. We power some of the fastest growing companies in the world, including like Mercor, scaling up to billions of revenue here shortly, ready for listing. So that's sort of another area where just like controls is a big one. And then we have native integrations with Maxio here on the call, which is awesome, but also the Ripplings, Ramps of the world, which are very fine-grained integrations out there. So that's sort of a little bit of an overview of the company itself. Just for context, we're 1.5 years now in market, 3.5 years also as a company, raised from Andreessen Horowitz, Sequoia, over $100 million just recently, and are very quickly growing and adapting as part of the market set. Pause here. Any questions there before I before we hit some other questions in the chat?
There's an interesting question here, and I don't exactly know. It's around, does Maxio handle sales through VAR partners? I can read that two different ways. I'll answer one of them, but Hillary, maybe you have a different spin on it. I mean, Maxio sells our solution primarily direct. You can call us up and we'll help you understand if we're at the right solution or not. We do have some value-added partners that implement our solution. Some of them bundle it into their BPO process. So if you're out getting like a fractional CFO, they might be using Maxio behind the scenes. You might be interacting with Maxio, stuff like that. And I do believe we have 1 or 2 VARs that actually resell our solution as well. But it's not a big part of our business. I feel like it's a different question though, Hillary.
The other way you could read it is if you have VAR partners and want to do resellers through Maxio. So that would most likely be through our advanced billing, can handle that kind of reseller motion. So would love to show you a demo if you want to see it.
Yeah, so I think we answered both versions of that. Let's see, we got another question in the chat here.
Morgan, hi, Morgan. Had to step away for a bit. The answer is yes.
Yeah, we have, I don't know if we can get the content shared back on the screen. We have some next steps, but we do have, thank you. Let's go and click through that. So if you're interested in jumping in and starting to play with it, we have early access available. So you just simply go to this Maxio link and plug in your name. We'll reach out to you pretty quickly. Understand if you already have a Rillet account or not, Maxio account, those types of logistical things, and then get you hooked up. And then obviously love your feedback. It looks like we posted the link too in the chat. I'd like to understand in more depth AI capabilities of Rillet. Okay, that one's for you.
Cool. Yeah, no, I can, Monica, I'm happy to share more in a one-on demo as well. But so in general, there's 2 parts of AI in our application. So part number 1 is sort of the highly autonomous AI around matching of cash transactions, around ability to notify users of certain patterns in the application or journal entries that may have been manually booked in a usually automated account. So it's sort of like your agent or like helper sitting on your shoulder, helping you to get along and sort of work through your day-to-day. So that's one side of AI that we're deploy in our application. And then the other side that we're releasing here shortly, I think it's actually this week, the release date. So this is a little bit of an early teaser. Is a full agentic marketplace where you can basically staff agents. We have multiple agents in the application, have them work together on certain tasks, ask you questions, pull information for you, help estimate accruals. So there's a lot of cool things that are happening there. And the field is moving so quickly that it's all evolving real time. So we work very closely with our customers there to help develop. But yeah, so that's sort of the 2 big buckets. If you're curious in learning more details, feel free to reach out to me yeah, like to me, it's literally here on LinkedIn. And my email is nick@rillet.com. Cool. Any other questions on the integration and partnership here before we wrap, guys? Pat, there's one quick question on Rillet and the ability to use AI for FP&A. We don't do FP&A today, so we have a lot of reporting and interesting reports in our application specifically that you can ask questions about, and like, for example, have a sense of, for example, you use Maxio here for your invoicing, revenue recognition, everything else. This information comes in, as Hillary just demoed out, into the application. You can then ask it questions like which customers are more likely to pay late. And sort of that goes a little bit into cash flow forecasting and some of these use cases, but we don't do like core FP&A in the application itself. So if you want to do forecast, there's great tools out there, or use Excel.
Okay. Well, I think that was a good round of questions. Thank you, everyone, again for joining. Please do reach out to either Nick or myself. We love fielding these types of questions. We're passionate about solving this problem for our customers, and hopefully you see that in the integration as you guys get to access it and play around with it. We welcome your feedback. Thanks again. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm.